Welcome back, everybody. I'm Bobby. This is Quincy Squid Garage. Today we're going to continue the process on the YJ, getting this jam joint going. We pulled the engine, pretty much rebuilt the engine, stabbed the engine. Now we're putting all the accessories in. So today we're going to do power steering pump, alternator, radiator. I'm trying to think of some other things we got still going on. I still got to put the exhaust manifold to the muffler back on, but intake and exhaust manifolds are mounted to the side. Everything's torqued down, valve trains replaced, torqued down. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. So thanks for hanging out. Okay, so here I went ahead and changed our power steering pump. So our old one had an internal leak, and we also had a line leaking. I already got the line over there by the motor. So we got a new one. My kid kind of went happy with the paint, so I'm gonna have to scuff that up a little bit to get the pulley on. But so we got a new power steering pump, new radiator hoses. That one's old. I got to figure out that. And our alternator. And here's our pulley. And somewhere around here, got a crap load of brackets. Found them, chilling on the boat. All right, so before we really get into anything, I do got the starter to put in still too. So got the engine stabbed yesterday. It beat the ever-living hell out of me trying to get these mounts lined up because I did not take the intake and exhaust manifolds out. They were kind of just left in here. I had some ratchet straps holding them back, and getting this thing in there, angled and stabbed on the transmission, operation nightmare. So, but right now, let's see, we pulled the engine. We did a bottom end, we did a camshaft, we did the, I sent the cylinder head in for repair. Originally we had some bent valves in here. Truck hadn't run for a long time, so I think when I was cranking on it, it wasn't getting enough lubrication, and it just doinked off a couple valves up here. So we had some rocker arms that were all right, but the push rods were bent. So there was 3 that were jacked up, so I just took the whole thing apart. We took it over to Chico's machine shop, got that all fixed up. So heads port polished, all new valves, all new top end, all new lifters, camshafts new, timing chain, all that's new. We have previous videos on all that for the removal of all this stuff and the buildup. And now we're just down to the nitty gritty here. So yesterday we got the engine stabbed. Our head bolts were torqued and everything before we put it on. Our valve train was torqued. I put them at top dead center for each valve to put as least amount of resistance on there as possible, but we are not going to put the valve cover on until we start the engine and tighten each one as it's running to prevent that lifter tick. Obviously new exhaust and intake gaskets. This was not easy to put on because I was doing it by myself for a good portion of it till my kid came out and decided to help. But yeah, we're ready to go. And we're going to start, I think, with, let's start with a starter. That's easy. 2 bolts. Let's do that. All right, we've gone ahead and stabbed our starter here. These bolts are loose. I haven't put the backside in. So there's 2 bolts. One goes in the forward end, one comes in through the back. They're both 9/16. Make sure you keep your hardware. So the second one will go right here. Make sure you keep your hardware because they can easily misplaced with something else. And of course I need my other hand to swap this up. So let's move this back. So straighten this up. Get that bolt started. And we can tighten those down. We should be good. So normally you'll also be taking off your wiring if you're changing it. So just do some Chinese engineering and make sure you know which one's going where. So you got this one small wire which goes up to a terminal block, the main power wire which goes to your battery, and then this wire is from the solenoid to the starter itself, which tells it to kick over and spit out the gear into your flywheel. All right, so we'll go ahead and tighten those up and then we'll move on to the power steering pump. Okay, so starter's mounted. Top bolt comes through the other side. There's a bottom bolt, goes this way. Tighten those up. Our power wire was never disconnected this time, but power wire goes directly up to the positive terminal, which will go here. Did install our battery. Solenoid power wire, which goes to the ignition, goes to this terminal block here. This wire, which is not disconnected, goes right to the starter. Solenoid starter motor. And then once we put power to this wire with our ignition, we should be good to go. All right, looking into our power steering pump installation, I've installed this bracket here. So it has 2 mount bolts that go directly to the block, and these 2 go directly to the intake manifold. So those will go there, and then here on the front of your water pump is where the rest of this will go. So I've already kind of mocked this up here. Pump. Let me take this inside here. Sorry about the wind. Come on, guy. Move these guys out the way. All right, so our pump here, and my kid went Operation Apeshit with the red paint. There's our old one, new one. Here is the bracketry here. So there's a long bolt that goes through here, and that's what's actually gonna let this be able to move for the tension on your for the pulley and the belt. So that long bolt will go through. The back of this one is a little bit different than most. Most of them have this tube here coming out the center here to hook up your return line. So you got an outlet line which goes out towards the radiator. We're replacing this line, and this is the return line coming in. All right. So this bracketry, just kind of take a look at it. I had to go through and do some Chinese engineering on my removal video, and also looking at some other people's videos just to kind of see how it went back together, because it was kind of wonky, because this bolt here must be for a different configuration, because this one doesn't use anything on this particular engine. So we'll get this installed, mocked up, and I'll show you how it looks, and then we'll put our pulley on. We've got our bracketry all in here. So this bolt here is the one that goes through this center 2 halves here, and that's what actually allows you to move this back and forth to get the tension on your belt. All right, so all of these are tight. Make sure when you take these apart to label your bolts. I just put them all in a bag. Bad news. These bolt here is a 5/8. The rest are 9/16. This one has a bigger shank on it, so if you're not careful, you'll jack up the threads on your new pump if you're changing out your pump. So just keep track of your hardware. So give a quick look at this bracketry, because it is kind of confusing when it's all sitting on your bench. So, and then this piece under here we talked about earlier attaches to your block. There's a bolt in the back here that acts as a swivel point as well, so you can, I think I've already got it. It's hard to do one-handed, but trust me, it moves. All right, so now we'll go ahead and put our pulley on. I took it off with the pulley still on, thinking I could get a pump with a pulley on it, like a dum-dum. So I had to remove the pulley off the old one while it was on the bench, and that was not fun. So I learned from my mistake. So we're gonna put the pulley on, and everything is stationary here, and it should just seat fairly easy. And then we also got to put our new line on. So that new line go down to here. I think it's this one. And remove these 2 here, and it'll attach to the back here. You got to pull that plug there. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, that plug right there. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, to pull that plug, we're going to use our really fancy snap-on little gripper pliers here. These were only $6,000 on the truck, and I found out they rust exactly the same as Harbor Freight tools, which is crazy. So go ahead and use these real quick. Come on now. All right, as you can see, I did the right thing here, at least when I took the radiator out. I put the bolts right back where they go, so there's no question. So to remove this line, coming down here, we've got a one small bracket here. I believe I just had a setup for that. A 3/8 on a 1/4 inch drive ratchet. And this line here, I think, is an 11/16. Check out this wrench. I don't remember what I did that for, but somewhere. Ooh, it's a little tight, probably because it's got too much crap on it. So, I'll try 3/4. I mean, it's already broke loose, so, yeah. Sorry about this wind, guys. It's really kicking out here in Oklahoma today. All right, so we'll go ahead and remove this and install the new one, and we'll just cut to that. All right, comparing these. So this side looks the same. This side does not. So I'm kind of, oh wait, no, I just figured it out. So this fitting is this fitting here. So this fitting, I could not get off when it was on the pump, the old pump. So I just yanked the whole thing out. So this is installed on the new pump. So we're good to go. Now this one does not have this little connector deal. Whatever you're gonna test on the power steering, I don't understand that. But you know. All right, new line is installed here. So this back end here is a 5/8. Is that blurry? Can't tell with the light. So 5/8 here. Make sure you put your O-rings on the line when it comes in. There's a little piece of paper in there that shows you exactly how to do it. We did reinstall our bracket. And down here, we were 11/16 down there. So that's all tightened up. So we got a brand new line, brand new pump, and we'll put our pulley on. All right, now that we've changed out our power steering pump and our line, let's do our part and protect the planet. So make sure you throw all your trash in the trash can, because that makes sure it goes in the right place and it doesn't end up in the ocean, wrapped around a squid's head. I feel better. All right, so we're tight on our connection here. I'm going to go ahead and install this here until we're spinning. Just kind of tighten that up as best you can by hand. We're going to install our pulley over this. Try to seat it as best you can to where it's, when you spin this, it's straight. These seem to be working here. So see how it's kind of wonky right there? We don't want that. Well, let's just hope this pulls it on straight. How about that? This is our tool here. In theory, this should straighten it out. The wind's really hitting that camera, isn't it? A little Blair Witch action going. So you can use an air gun. I prefer not to on these, because if you move too fast, you can strip these out. So I use 2 crescent wrenches. Look at that. So when my daughter Madison was about 5, she wanted her own tools. So I just took some tools and put her name on them. So, but we still use it. All the kids have some tools like that, but we still use them. Okay, well, the problem that I was talking about, that's exactly what I ran into. These 2 shafts, which we connect, this one keeps breaking the torque off the inner one that's attached to the pump itself. So I can't press it in when this one keeps coming loose. So what I've done here is I put a microfiber cloth right around the pulley itself and attach a set of vice grips, and I'm using that to hold it stationary while I wind this down, and it is pressing it in. So sometimes you got to kind of just adapt and overcome. So we'll go ahead and continue pressing this in, and then we'll get it lined up with our water pump pulley, which we've mocked up here. So as you can see, we're not quite lined up with this groove. All right, I've almost got this thing seated, so we're gonna go ahead and put our belt on, and that'll kind of help me line them up. As we're looking at it, the belt will line up on all 3 pulleys. So we'll go ahead and do that. Go ahead and install our fan to keep the water pump pulley on. So this isn't all the way seated yet, but I wanted to make sure we got the bearing, or the pulley, seated to where this would be in a straight line with the water pump pulley and the crankshaft pulley down here. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten this up until we're even. And I've got my belt where I want it to be, my pulley where I want it to be. Everything lines up. If you look at it. So now we're gonna remove this. I already broke the torque. Put our puller parts back in the case. And then it's brake time. Get this. All our pieces are taken apart, put back together. ATAF. So now when I need this again, I can use it. Well, we just talked about brake time. So today's video is brought to you by Bud Light. This was left in my fridge. This was left by Brandon and Louie when they came over. We had Filipino Mafia karaoke night. All right, so thanks a lot for that. Appreciate you. Also brought to you by Day Old Cold Pizza. This is from Eagle One, Hawaiian, jam up, now bad for $7. All right, word on the street is we got to put an alternator in and this belt. Let's do it. Dang guys, the wind out here is crazy. So we got this thing stabbed here. It's got one mount bolt that goes through, and then this one will rest here. And then this bolt, I don't know. When I took this apart, it's common practice around here. Stevie Wonder comes over and he usually does all the bagging and tagging for all my hardware. So I got to figure out what little bolt goes in there to hold that joint on. And then we'll put this belt on. Okay, removed our valve cover. Pre-installed our radiator lines, top and bottom. We're gonna go ahead and put the radiator in. And then I think we're ready for fluids. All right, radiator's here. We picked it up 2 days ago from Osborne Radiator. They went through it, make sure it was all good. And it's tip top. So that's Osborne, they're on South Agnew. And pretty reputable guys, highly recommend. Okay, so the install on this is pretty straightforward. There's 4 mount screws. The bottom ones on either side are open, so it leaves it easier to put your screw on down there, like so. So like this, and then you can slide it in and then attach your top screws here, both sides. Okay, so radiator's mock installed. I've got these bolts here still loose. This one, middle one here, is a clamp for something else. And then we'll put the top bolts in. And then once those are all tightened down, we'll hook up our top line and bottom line, which are already kind of staged. Fun fact on this passenger side, this flange is in the way. So the engineers, who are always so kind to mechanics, put this little access hole here. And the bottom bolts are 10 millimeter. Top bolts were 5/16. Figure that one out. Well, we went ahead and pushed the Jeep in. Big ball of fire out here is cooking me. So I don't really need it out in the driveway to do what I need to do now. Everything's pretty much in now, I think. I've got all our hoses on. I've got new hoses. Top and bottom radiator. Everything here. This will come over here, get a little zip tie action, jam joint right there. I am going to get a longer hose for this because we're doing a little kinkage. Yeah, bad news bears, right? So, but for test runs, this is going to work. So I got to run to O'Reilly's. I got to get some power steering fluid. I got to get some oil. I got to get some, oh, I have some right here actually. This zinc additive. So this is for the camshaft, all right? So whenever you put a new camshaft in, it directly told you that you have to use a high zinc concentrate when you do your first engine break-in. So valve cover is gonna be coming off when we run it to make sure all our valves are seated right. And I gotta hook up the Jim Jams here, spark plug wires. Did get a ground cable hooked up. So spark plug wires. Oh, you know what else I gotta do? The Jim Jams down here. Gotta tighten these up on the exhaust. So get those joints tightened up. But we got new lines on our power steering, all new hoses, and we should be good to go. So let's run to O'Reilly's real quick and do that. Oh, we also got to go see Jerry Collins because he called about the squid. It's all here, ready to go. So we're gonna go check it out. All right, here's proof that I'm not lying because I know you were questioning my integrity. Camshaft engine oil break-in. Get some zinc. Okay, so we got the Jeep together. Got to go get some fluids from O'Reilly's. We need some power steering fluid. We need some zinc additive for the oil for the camshaft, and we need a couple more gallons of radiator fluid. What's that stuff called? Antifreeze. Yes, yes. And we're also on our way to meet Mr. Jerry Collins, who made us squid for our channel. So we'll catch up with him in a second. And we picked up the chinchilla babies from Katie's house. So where's Cheesy at?
I got sun.
You want to get Sun in there? There's Sun. And there's Cheese. Yes, yes. Don't let them loose.
Why not?
Because they'll take over the world. All right, we're back from the store. We went out and we got some power steering fluid, some regular oil, non-synthetic oil. That's what it's specifically called for. We already had the zinc additive that we bought, and more radiator fluid because I only had 1 gallon. It takes 2.5 for the whole system. But we did stop and we saw Jerry Collins, and he made me a squid. So check this out. It's out of scrap wood. All right, really good dude. He's up there on Western and damn it, Classen and Western, right there. So he sells these little things out of his car, right there. He'll make anything you want. I'll put his phone number in the description. I put his last one in the last video. We saw him on the side of the road. He was selling something. My kid wanted it. We stopped. And he said, I'll make anything you want. So I called him up and said, will you make me a squid? And he said, yeah. So this is the officially Quincy Squid cat right here. We also stopped by Wally World, and I acquired some new snap ring pliers. These are, what are they? Mega tough. So I lost my snap ring pliers probably about 2 years ago. I got them shadowed in the box, and I've been waiting to find them to put in there. I'm always using 2 scribes when I need to, so now I've got a set. So let's go do that real quick. Well, here's the old toolbox. I've got the squid here. Thinking about putting the squid right up next to my jersey, my Quincy jersey up there somewhere. Jam up? I don't know. So we'll figure that out. But yeah, this has been cut since 2009 when I cut this foam and made this box. These were Irwin Vice Grip brand. I don't know what happened to them. I still got all the attachments though, so not sure. But these attachments look exactly like these attachments. So I think this should shadow right in there and fit jam up. We'll see what happens. Disco. Look, they fit perfect. I'm still missing this guy too. He's somewhere. I've seen him. Okay, I lied. I went to AutoZone instead of O'Reilly's because it was on the side of the street I was on. But we got everything serviced up except our antifreeze. So our coolant was the only thing we need left. I did remove the valve cover after I put all the oil in. So we put the oil, zinc additive for the camshaft, and we topped off our power steering. So remember, we did change the power steering lines, and I overfilled it, of course. So we got a little messy mess. But I got this new thing. This is something I saw in another gentleman's video. Jeepin' with Cool Guy, I think his name is. I don't know. But spill-proof funnel kit. So this joint has a bunch of different attachments here for different types of radiators. And what this is supposed to do is when you're servicing a complete new system is to get all the bubbles out as the engine's turning. You're going to fill this with too much fluid and the air is going to come out, and then this will eventually seep back down into where it needs to go as the engine's running. So we're going to try it out and see how it goes. So we're going to go ahead and fill it. This takes 2.5 gallons of fluid. So I got 3 here. So we'll just throw it all in there and it'll find a way. We got 1 gallon in already. I'm going to disconnect this top hose here and use a funnel and fill this up as much so I get as much as I can in the head already. And then once this is flipping and flopping, we'll put it back on here and then we'll go ahead and try and start it. Okay, slab heads, so here we are. We're all topped off. I've got an extra, probably 1/4 gallon of Gatorade up in here. So the way this thing works is, you know, it's contained here, but it's real nice. It's got a plunger that I can pull to let that air out while the engine's running, and whatever air comes out needs to be filled so the fluid will go down. So pretty nice setup. I've never used this before. don't remember which channel I saw this on. Another gentleman building up a Jeep. I think it's Jeepin' with Cool Guy, but I'm not sure. But pretty cool. I just bought it on Amazon, and cool whatever. Y'all can see it. Go to Amazon, buy it, 15 bucks or something like that. Okay, so we got everything topped off, and we're gonna go ahead and attempt to start, but I'm gonna leave that in the next video. So we're gonna do a will it run video, make sure the thing don't blow up on us. Well, hopefully it don't blow up. That'd be a good video too, right? After I did all this work. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to Bill Barger. He's out in Lemoore, California. Was a great mentor of mine. He's a retired 81 in the Navy, and he retired before I even enlisted, and he was one of my best mentors out there. He was one of the first people I contacted when I made chief, because he kept me in the Navy when I had a real bad attitude about it when I was a young airman, and turned me around in a lot of ways. So, but Bill Barger's, I think it's an 86 little Mighty Max pickup. Got stolen, little red pickup out in Lemoore, California, Hanford area. So I'll put a picture of it right here. So if you see that little Mighty Max, you know, call the Hanford PD, Lemoore PD, or whatever, because it's Bill's pride and joy, and scumbags came and snagged it. You know what I mean? So hopefully you find your truck, Bill, and you know, I appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe. I like comments. I reply to everyone, because you know, it's fun, and you know, jam up. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys.